Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego with my beautiful wife, Karina from Venezuela. It's January 13th, 2025. Can you believe 2 weeks of January have almost passed by? I mean, where did the time go? This is your green card channel. Do you need help filling out a green card application? Do you need help filling out a K1 visa application? Do you need help with a spousal visa application or a tourist visa? This is the place to be to do it for free. Okay, now I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give you any legal advice. Okay, I don't work for USCIS, but I've got 10 years experience doing this. And Karina got a green card on June 25th, 2024. And we went through the K1 visa process like you guys are going through the K1. And we went through the green card process like you guys. And with my 10 years of experience, I'm able to do this and with my eyes closed. Basically, it's not hard to do. I don't know why people spend thousands and thousands of dollars to immigration attorneys to do this very simple process. Maybe because they're scared of the US government, maybe because they're scared of making a mistake in the application. I don't know. Or maybe they just don't have the time because they're too busy with their lives. Or maybe they're just lazy. I don't know. But if you this I cannot see in my mind's eye why anybody would spend 3 or 4 grand to process a K1 visa or a green card. It's not hard to do, it's easy. Maru is first up to bat. Good morning, Maru. How are you? Now tell everybody when everybody gets online. I don't know, this is a surprise live stream. Our normal live streams are Saturdays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central Time. But sometimes we'll just jump on and do a live stream because people have questions from the last live stream and they can't wait until the next live stream. So we jump on and do a surprise live stream. So I got my Mountain Dew ready for the Mountain Dew salutes. I've got the pixie dust ready for the pixie dust and whatever else, whatever questions you have. The K1 visa process is all about attention to detail and being patient and being qualified for the benefit. And 211 Scooter has jumped into the live stream. Good morning, 211 Scooter and Maru. Now, don't forget, if you want to tell everybody where you are located, what city you live in, what country you live in, you can tell us. Just don't put your address out here because that's private. But just if you want to say what country, tell everybody what country you're in. Okay? Karina's from Venezuela, but she lived in Colombia for 6 years. And she was the manager of 5 ice cream stores. And now she's in Florida working with her green card, doing great. Maru, I'm well and hope you guys are doing well too. We are great. It's a little chilly. Now, I don't like cold weather. That's why I live in Florida. And, you know, Karina's used to being in warm weather in Venezuela. Caracas is always nice and warm. I mean, they got a horrible government. They got a dictator for a president they got a taxi driver who thinks he's president of Venezuela, but he's not. He's not the president. He's a massive fraud, okay? But Karina, she likes warm weather. I like warm weather, so I can't think of any place else to live other than somewhere else where it's warm, other than Florida and with low taxes, because Florida's got low taxes. And I don't like paying taxes to the government. I mean, they waste the money on so much garbage. I mean, they just waste the money. Look at California. Los Angeles basically burned down. Pacific Palisades burned to the ground. Why did that happen? They pay the highest taxes in the whole country there, other than New Jersey. They're a high tax state too. California pays really high taxes. So why did LA burn to the ground? Los Angeles, why? The government is not managing their tax money wisely. Okay? I don't know. If you're a beneficiary coming to America, try to avoid California and New York if you can. But if you live in California, if your sponsor lives in California, well, that's okay too. But, you know, they just probably got used to getting ripped off by their local and state and government. Anyway, so Maru's doing well. 211 Scooters is doing good. Everybody's doing good. And we're here to answer questions. 211 Scooter, I am Rob. I live in Houston, Texas. the great state of Texas in the United States. My wife, Jerusalem, is in Ethiopia. Okay, a very beautiful country, Ethiopia. I am waiting on a spousal visa. Okay, for your information, I really appreciate all of the great information. No problem. 211 Scooter now. So you got married. So I'm assuming you got married in Ethiopia, right? Or unless Jerusalem came to Texas and you got married in Texas on a tourist visa, and then she went back home to Ethiopia to process the spousal visa. So either way is fine. But if you got here on a spousal visa, it's not a difficult process. Most of the work you're going to be doing is at the National Visa Center. Okay, the National Visa Center is where spousal visas get adjudicated and processed in New Hampshire. They're going to ask you to upload documents. Okay, you're going to have to upload documents to the National Visa Center, and then the National Visa Center, once you become documentarily qualified, okay, once you're documentarily qualified in the National Visa Center, the NVC will schedule your wife a visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in Ethiopia. You said you got married via Zoom from Utah. That's the only state I think you can do that. And we were both in Ethiopia at the same time. Okay, well, that's interesting. Now, make sure that you have certified copies of your marriage certificate. Okay, those are very important documents. You said you're waiting on a spousal visa. So have you sent all the information to the service center? Did the service center send all your spousal visa documentation to the National Visa Center? Have you started to upload documents to get documentally qualified for the service center or the National Visa Center? That's the final point for you. Once you've uploaded everything to the National Visa Center, this is an IR1 spousal visa or a CR1 if it's conditional. Okay, if you've been married less than 2 years, it's going to be a CR1 spousal visa. If you've been married longer than 2 years, it will be an IR1 spousal visa, which is immediate relative. CR is conditional relative, conditional relation, okay? Maru, I'm in Texas and in the process of starting the K1 visa for my fiance in Cameroon. Okay. Well, what questions do you have regarding the K1 visa? What questions do you have? That's why I'm here. You're going to have to fill out Form I-129F. It's 12 pages long. Don't make any mistakes. When you fill out USCIS Form I-129F, don't make any mistakes on the paperwork. Make sure you spell names correctly. Passport numbers are correct. Dates of birth. Okay? Don't mess that up. Make sure you include lots of pictures, photos of you with your beneficiary, stating where the picture was taken, what day, and the location, and who's in the picture, etc., etc. You got to put lots of evidence in your K1 visa application. Boarding passes showing where you visited your beneficiary in Cameroon. The plane tickets. Pictures with her family and friends in Cameroon. You've got to have met each other face to face within 2 years before you file for the K1. 211 Francois is watching, and she said something and then she deleted it. Francois, I can't read it if you delete the message. Francois is in upstate New York. 211 Scooter, they have all my documents uploaded a year ago. Okay, so you're pretty close now. We just hit the 1 year mark, and you haven't turned the NVC corner yet. So you're getting close to the NVC corner. What's going to happen is the NVC is going to send you an email, and they're going to tell you to start uploading documents. You got to upload your tax returns, photos of you together in Cameroon, your passport biographic page, your beneficiary's passport biographic page, and any K2 children. The NVC is going to ask you to upload a bunch of documents, okay? So be ready for that very soon. Francois, Francois, did aliens take over your laptop in upstate New York, or did the governor of New York hack your computer? Because you write something and then it goes away. I don't know. We got to put pixie dust on Francois's laptop. There you go. That'll fix that. So when you're on a spousal visa, Francois, Now I'm going to read it quickly before it disappears. Good evening, Diego and Karina. Wonderful surprise to see Karina on the live stream during the day. Yes, Karina is here with me. She worked an early shift and now she's home and it's early and it's almost lunchtime. So we decided to do a live stream because I'm sure you have lots of questions, okay, on how to do this process. In a spousal visa, 211 Scooter, you're going to get an email from the National Visa Center and they're going to ask you to start uploading documents, okay? Once you get documentally qualified, that means you get your biographic page of your passport. You copy it in color, nice and big, so the immigration can read it. The same for your beneficiary's biographic page of her passport, okay? And then when you upload the documents, you got to make sure you upload them specifically as told by NVC. If the NVC says they want to see your beneficiary's passport, don't combine your passport with your beneficiary's passport. So don't put your passport on a piece of paper with your beneficiaries to try to save time. You're going to have to upload the passports to the NVC one at a time. 211 Scooter, look at that super chat, #1 fan from 211 Scooter. Well, that's a Mountain Dew salute right there. Thank you, Scooter. 211 Scooter. Now, listen. When you get asked to upload documents, it's 211 Scooter to the National Visa Center, make sure the documents are exactly square when you upload them. You don't want them off a little bit or off like this. You don't want to miss a little piece. When you take a picture of your biographic page of your passport with your picture and your signature and expiration date, make sure it's a perfectly square and immigration can see everything. And then when you upload it, immigration is going to needs to be able to see everything. It cannot be blurry. Okay? If you have a mistake, if you upload something they can't read, okay, then you're going to get an email from NVC saying, I can't read this. So you need to re-upload it, and that's going to set you back a couple of weeks in processing time because they won't get back to you again because they're going to go to the next person. So it's very, very, very important when you upload documents to the National Visa Center that you upload them in color, you upload them clearly, and that you don't cut off anything in the upload. Okay? Very important. And don't combine documents. If they ask for your passport, 211 Scooter, biographic page, upload your passport, not a combination of passports. And 211 Scooter says, one vet to another. Yeah, I'm a Navy veteran. I was in the United States Navy, traveled around the world for free, got paid to travel around the world. You know, I got to go to Egypt and Italy and Sicily and Spain and I don't know, I've been all these different countries and I had a great 20 years in the Navy. But that time is over with. Then I was in the car industry for about 17 years, something like that. I lost track of time. And then I went into real estate for 4 years. And now I'm doing YouTube with Karina. I'm helping you guys so you can get your visa for your spouse or your husband or your wife or your fiance, so you don't have to pay an immigration attorney. But thanks for that #1 fan super sticker, 211 Scooter. And that's your first one on the live stream, according to YouTube. Antonio. Hey, Diego, my wife started working in August 2024. Is it best we file taxes jointly or separately? Don't file taxes separately. Antonio, you file taxes jointly. It's a joint tax return. But did you get married in 2024? When did you get married? In 2024, 2025? Here's what I would do. File a joint tax return. You can just file a joint tax return. File a joint tax return. Okay? Don't file separately. That's a big no-no. That's a big slap. That's a big red flag from immigration. Okay? So you file a joint tax return. Antonio, do you understand? Your name is here, your wife's name is here on 11040. Your social's here, her social's here. Boom. Francois Livingston, do I need to send copies of the previous passports or just the current ones? Just the current passports. Immigration don't care about the only time immigration may want to see a new passport. Let's suppose you got a U.S. passport and you lose it. And then you have to get another passport, and you get another passport, and then you find the passport that you lost. That happens sometimes. That's when you bring both passports to the embassy interview. Let's suppose your beneficiary, okay, loses her passport, and that's the passport you filed the K-1 visa with. Your beneficiary she says, let's suppose we got a French passport, and she loses it. And those are the passport number is what you use for the K-1 visa. And then she finds the passport. It slipped under the freaking couch or something. The dog got it, and the dog hid it under his basket or something. When you go to the K-1 visa interview at the embassy in Paris, you're going to bring both passports. The one you filed that you lost and the new one that you had to retrieve. So you lost your passport, then you found it. Then you bring both passports. Okay? Antonio, hey, I'm new to this marriage life. Okay, Antonio. I'm putting mega pixie dust, okay, all over your wedding vows. When you file for the green card for the 2-year, and when you file for the 10-year green card, is more importantly, when you file for the 10-year green card, you got to show a minimum of 2 tax returns filed jointly to the IRS. A minimum of 2, okay, tax returns. So I'm helping you, Antonio. You're going to get through this, okay? Bethlehem Gurma. Good afternoon, Diego and Karina. I am in the USA with the K-1 visa, got married and collecting evidence, so my health insurance has to be in my name, my husband's health insurance. Bethlehem. All you have to be is on his health insurance, okay? Your name has to be on your husband's health insurance. Somehow or some way, you got to prove you got health insurance. You got to repeat the medical exam. You got to redo the 693. You've got to recertify your vaccinations. Very important. On December 2nd, 2024, USCIS made their ruling to get ready for the Trump administration that you're going to have to repeat the medical exam when you get to America on a K-1 visa. Okay? Go find a civil surgeon, repeat the medical exam, and include the 693 in the vaccination records again. Okay? And you said here, my health insurance has to be in the same as my husband's health insurance. It doesn't have to be the same. No, you can have your own health insurance if you want. Bethlehem, you don't have to be on your husband's health insurance. You can buy your own health insurance privately. You can do that, just as long as you have health insurance. But it's a lot better for immigration to see your name on your husband's health insurance because they see you're commingling your life together. You're joining together somehow. Okay? Matisa Kalisa, XO, Executive Officer. Hello, just wondering how long should I wait till I check for RFE update? It's been nearly 2 months. I would go ahead and send an inquiry. Miss Tisa, send an inquiry on your RFE. Find out and ask them what's going on. Okay? Aquarius, hello, Diego and Karina. Can a beneficiary travel a week after they land in America? Texas to New York. After 1 week, we're going to see family. Aquarius, absolutely. But make sure you print the I-94. Okay? If the Border Patrol and Customs should have initiated an I-94 for you. See if you can get it from the Border Patrol website and then print the I-94 and travel. Make sure you got the I-94 with you. But you can travel. Sure, it's no problem, Aquarius. Texas to New York. But you make sure you check the weather in New York. Because right now, I don't know how the weather is in New York. It's probably, I don't know if John F. Kennedy Airport snowed in or LaGuardia. I don't know if the airports are closed or open because the weather up there sucks. Francois Livingston, the reason I ask is because we both renewed our passports during the K-1 visa process. That's okay. You don't have to use it. No, you're just going to make a copy of your current new U.S. passport, and Hamid's going to make a photocopy of his current Moroccan passport, nice and big, okay, in color, the biographic page. You don't have to make a copy of the entire freaking passport, just the biographic page where the picture is, the date of expiration, and the signature, okay? Francois, you're good. Mestiza, Kalisa, okay, thanks. You're welcome. Not a problem. Go ahead and send the inquiry, okay? Bethlehem, I got it. Thank you so much, Diego. No problem, it's Bethlehem. It's not Bethlehem, it's Bethlehem Gurma. I don't like to make mistakes on people's names, okay? Bethlehem Gurma. Maru, about how many pictures should be included in the K1 visa application? I would say between 40 to 50 pictures over the length of your relationship. Corinne and I dated for over a year, and we were together for 3 years before we got married. So we had a collection of pictures over a 4-year period when we filed for the green card. But it was a 3-year period for when we filed for the K1 visa. Oh no, it was a year and a half, 2 years. It was 2 years, okay? But immigration, they actually like to look at the pictures. You got an immigration adjudicator at USCIS, okay? He or she had a crappy day, and then all of a sudden they get this wonderful photo album of pictures from a beneficiary and from a sponsor in a K1 visa. And they get to look at the pictures, and actually these folks at USCIS, they like to see the pictures. They enjoy looking at them. But make sure there's not pictures, just selfies. Make sure it's not pictures just with you and your beneficiary. It's got to be pictures with you, her family, and her friends. When we were in Bogota, Colombia together, I was walking down the street in Bogota with a bunch of Karina's friends. There's about 5 of her friends. There was more. And I said, hey, stop, let's get a group picture in the street, on the sidewalk, not in the street. So we took a picture of and I was the only guy in this picture of all these ladies. And I said, what's your name? 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 And then I wrote the names of the people in the photo. I put the date the picture was taken. It was, I think that picture was like in April of 2021. But we got a bunch of pictures. And you got to identify who's in the picture, the name of the person, where the picture was taken, etc. If you send a bunch of pictures to immigration and you don't identify who the people are, immigration is going to send you a whole K1 visa package back and say, thanks for the pictures, but who are these people? Where was the picture taken and what day and where? Francois, you're good. You only need to submit the new passports, okay? Immigration will look at the renewal date and the new expiration date, and they'll know that you renewed your passport. Maru, about 30 to 50 pictures, 30 to 50 with friends and family, friends and family, friends and family, friends and family, and then maybe 5 or 10 pictures with you guys just by yourself together in selfies, etc. So let's say you want to have, let's say 30 pictures with friends and family and 15 pictures with selfies. Okay. Francois Livingston and the visa stamp page when I ended in Abu Dhabi and Hamid K1 visa stamp page. Yes. Francois, you want to show that you flew to the United Arab Emirates. You do that with the boarding passes and visa stamps. So you're going to include that in the green card application for Hamid to show evidence that you flew to the United Arab Emirates and then you flew back to the United States via John F. Kennedy, right? You flew into JFK in Queens. John F. Kennedy International Airport is where you came back, is where you flew into in Queens, New York, right? So yeah, you're going to include the visa stamps. If you live in Colombia, South America, Colombia's gone to biometrics. The airport is all biometrics. So when you leave Colombia, you don't check in with somebody really. You go and get your picture taken automatically and you go through the gate. You got your boarding pass, you slide it into the machine, The machine reads the boarding pass electronically. It says it shows your name right here in the entry gate. You enter immigration and they take a picture. So there's no stamp in your passport. This is Colombia. So when you enter Colombia, you want to make sure you're going to get if you're coming in as a tourist for 90 days to be with your beneficiary, then they're going to stamp it for you. But when you leave, it's going to be a picture in a biometrics. So it's a little different. So you need to write an explanation when you file for your K1 visa. If your beneficiary lives in Colombia, you write an explanation. Well, when I left Colombia, I couldn't get a visa stamp because it was all automated. Okay? But Francois, you need to include, now those visa stamps have to be in color and make them big. So take a picture of the visa stamps with your cell phone, or if you want, go to Office Depot and make a blown up copy of it so that immigration can see it. Right, Francois, yeah, Francois, include that. When you file for your 10-year green card, your 2-year green card, you want to show as much evidence of your relationship as you can. When you file for the K1 visa, that's when you want to really max out your evidence of being together. Okay, Maru, okay, thanks, no problem. The more evidence you put in your K1 visa application of your relationship, if some people, I'm not saying this is you guys, but some people, they'll meet somebody online, they'll fly somewhere, spend a weekend or 4 days with them because their work won't let them take much time off, come back, they've known each other for 2 months online, they meet each other for 3 or 4 days, and then they file a K1 visa, and then they get surprised. Then they wonder why USCIS is sending them an RFE saying you need to provide more evidence of your relationship. You want to date each other for at least a year and get to know each other. 6 months probably is the cutoff. 6 months. Once you've been dating for a year, you should have accumulated enough evidence of your relationship that you want to get married. You had an engagement party. We had an engagement party in Colombia with her family, Karina's family, brothers and nieces and nephews. Now remember, all of Karina's family is from Venezuela, but they live in Colombia, except for her mom and sister. Because Venezuela, nobody wants to live there except communists. And that's probably that many people. So everybody, from all the good people from Venezuela and all the people that have the means, have left Venezuela and live in Colombia, Peru, Argentina, Brazil, Panama, Central America, other than Nicaragua, because Nicaragua is worse than freaking Venezuela. So, you want to show the relationship. You got to prove that you've been dating for each other for a year, at least a year. You got to prove you had an engagement party. And don't have an engagement party. Let's suppose you have an engagement party in Nigeria or in Indonesia, and they want to have their party in cultural clothes, or in Africa, like in Ghana or the Ivory Coast. Those folks like to have cultural engagement parties. Okay? Don't include pictures in your K1 visa application of your engagement party in cultural clothes, because USCIS might think you got married, and they will deny your K1. And then you're going to say, "Why are you denying my K1? It's an engagement party," but it looks like a wedding ceremony. When you have an engagement party, I don't care what country you live in, okay, have it in regular clothes, with family, with a cake, and lots of good food, okay? And then invite us, because I like good food. I'm kidding. When you have an engagement party, have it in regular clothes with lots of people, and include lots of pictures, and identify who's in the picture, and say, "This is our engagement. This is the engagement party we had." Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, you're going to buy an engagement ring for your beneficiary, right? I bought Karina an engagement ring in a jewelry store, and I made sure that the jewelry store lady wrote on the receipt, "This is an engagement ring." Okay? And I included a picture of it. These are wedding rings we bought in Colombia, but I put a picture of it in the K1 visa application. Here's our engagement rings. And here's the receipt from the store, the jewelry store. And I got some white out like this. Let me see if I have it here. I got some whiteout, and I whited out the price, because immigration doesn't need to know how much you paid for the engagement ring. They just want to see that you guys are engaged, because a K1 visa is, what is it? It's a fiance visa. What's a fiance visa? Somebody you're going to marry. So if you're going to marry somebody, you should have had an engagement party, or at least a gathering of people to announce the engagement, or a public engagement announcement. American citizen, sponsor, buy your wife or husband a engagement ring. Make sure the jewelry store writes on the receipt, this is an engagement ring. So that way, USCIS, when they open up your package at the service center, they don't misconstrue your engagement ring as a wedding ring. If they think that you have purchased a wedding ring, they might think you got married. So listen to me, very important. When you put a K1 visa package together, make sure you are engaged. Make sure you have an engagement ceremony in regular clothes. Make sure you have an engagement ring. Make sure you identify the engagement ring as an engagement ring by the store that you buy the engagement ring from, and have the jeweler sign this is an engagement ring. Then you're covered. Okay? Then when we were in Bogota, Colombia, we were in the Emerald District. We were walking around where the Emerald stores are and the gold stores in central Bogota, all the jewelry stores and an area in the emeralds, and it's a beautiful place. And I saw these wedding bands. I said, "Hey, Karina, check it out." And she liked them. She goes, "Yeah, I like those." I said, "Okay, I'm going to buy them." This was like a week, 2 weeks, or a week before the scary visa interview in Bogota. So I bought the wedding bands. I put them on my credit card. And then I had a receipt from the jeweler saying these are wedding rings. Okay? So for the K1 visa, we had the engagement rings. And for the K1 visa interview, we had wedding rings and engagement rings. But don't wear your engagement ring to the K1 visa interview. The immigration, especially if you live in Singapore, Indonesia, Ghana, some countries in Southwest Asia, they might look at you. You go to your visa interview at the embassy or the consulate, and they see your engagement ring on your finger. They might think you got married. The immigration officer is going to say to you, "So you guys get married or what?" "Oh, no, this is my engagement ring." "Can you prove it? Do you have the receipt that says this is an engagement ring?" The best way to go about it is, when you go to the visa interview at the embassy, don't wear your engagement ring. Don't wear anything like that. Okay? So that eliminates the question. So the embassy, a consular officer, doesn't ask you that question if they see it. Right? I'm not saying this is going to happen in every single case, but it could. I'm trying to protect you from a crazy question that could terminate your K1 visa application right there on the spot. All right? Food for thought. Remember, this is the K1 visa channel, and this is the green card channel. When you get your wedding rings, keep the receipt, white out the price, and put it in the green card application for the 2-year green card. When I filed, I helped put the package together, but when we filed for the green card for Karina, the receipt was from Bogota, Colombia. Wedding bands. And inside the wedding bands, we got them engraved. Right? So it's real special. And tomorrow is our first wedding anniversary. Today is January 13th, 2025. Tomorrow is our first wedding anniversary. Okay, January 14th, 2025. 1 year married. Karina's been in America 1 year and 2 weeks. Where'd the time go? Next year, we're going to lift the conditions off of her 2-year green card and apply for her 10-year green card. Where did the time go? It goes by quick. So you got to make sure when you get to America, you don't stop collecting evidence for your 10-year green card. Okay? It doesn't stop. The process doesn't stop. What do you need to do what paperwork do you need to lift the conditions off the 2-year green card? Well, I think the fee right now is $750. I think don't quote me on it, but it's about $750. You're going to have to include the same stuff you included for your, when you apply for the 10-year green card, you have to include the same stuff you applied for the 2-year green card, plus evidence of your 2 years together. Right? So you got your 2-year green card. Now you're getting ready to file for your 10-year green card 90 days before your 2-year green card expires. Okay. Okay, Francois Livingston. See you on Wednesday with more questions, Francois. Go to work, Francois. Go do something. Felix, hi, Diego. Hope you're good. We're always good. My case number has been ready since the 19th of December, 2023. And the last update was the 22nd of December, 2024. Felix, are you staying in touch with the embassy? Is this K1 visa status coming from the embassy or the National Visa Center or USCIS? Your case number was created by the National Visa Center, so I'm assuming your K1 visa or spousal visa is sitting at the NVC. Now you need to tell me what country we're talking about. What country are we talking about? Tell me the country. Francois, we'll see you Wednesday. Today is what? Monday? Yeah, we'll see you in 2 days, Francois. Maru, okay, thanks, Francois. All right, Felix. You should have heard something. Ghana. That explains it. Ghana is very, very, very slow. I remember now from Ghana. That's right. You have to call your congressman or your U.S. senator. I would call your U.S. senator and have your U.S. senator intervene on your behalf because you have been waiting long enough. First, I'm going to put pixie dust on your case, okay? And you need to get in. You need to look. I don't know what state you live in, but you need to call your U.S. senator and say, "Look, this is mental abuse. This is mental torture on my family. I shouldn't have to wait a whole year just to get an update on my K1 visa." And remember, for the U.S. Embassy in Ghana, there are two visa interviews now. Okay, there's a preliminary visa interview, and then there's a secondary, and then there's the final. In the country of Ghana, okay, the embassy in Accra. I'm gonna write it right here. The name of the embassy is in Accra. That's where you're going to go for 2 visa interviews for your sponsor. One is a preliminary, and then you're going to go, and then she'll go back for the real one to make sure she has all the documents that she's got, everything. But you need to get in touch with your U.S. senator and say, "Look, can you help me? Can you contact the embassy in Accra, Ghana, and schedule my beneficiary her freaking visa interview?" Ghana, okay, unfortunately, is one of the countries on the list of the State Department hit list for massive fraud. There's lots of fraudulent green card applications that are coming out of Ghana. So it's on a State Department list of countries to watch, which makes it harder for you. So you live in Texas, so you need to call Senator Ted Cruz. Call up Senator Ted Cruz's office in Texas and ask him to help you. Okay. And then if Senator Ted Cruz doesn't help you, there's 2 senators in the great state of Texas. Ask the other senator to help you. There's two senators. Okay. They have more direct access to the State Department than the Congress does for some reason. Now remember, the new Secretary of State is Marco Rubio. And Marco Rubio, okay, if he hears about people getting jacked around on green card applications and K1 visa applications, when the person is qualified for the benefit and has met all the standards and met all the requirements and is in a real relationship, he's not going to put up with this crap coming out of the embassies where they slow down the case. So get in touch with Senator Ted Cruz, Felix, and ask him to help you. If he doesn't help you, call your other senator. If he doesn't help you, call your congressman. Make an appointment to go see your congressman face to face in his office. Whatever city you live in, like here, our congressman here, okay, has an office where you can go and talk and sit down with one of his helpers. Okay, every state in America has 2 senators. So there's 50 states, right? How many states are there? There are 50 states, right? There's 50 states. And each state has got 2 senators. So that means there are 100 senators, right, in the United States of America. Now, each state also has congressional representation from a congressman or a congresswoman. It all depends on the population size, depending on how many members of Congress represent your state. Like here in Florida, we got a big population of people, so I believe we have 30 members of Congress. I could be wrong, but I believe that's the number. No, we got more than that, but there's 30 electoral votes, okay? This is 30 member electoral college votes in Florida, okay? Because we're a big state. California's got 50 electoral college votes. New York's got a big population. So you got to get in touch with your congressman, but primarily start with your senators because they have the direct contact with the State Department more so than the Congress. We pay their salaries. Members of Congress and the U.S. Senate, they get elected, and then we pay them huge salaries every year to represent us Americans. Okay, they represent us. We don't work for these people. They work for us. We elected them and they work for us, and we pay their salary out of federal taxes. If you got a problem with your visa or your green card and you cannot solve it at immigration level, call your senator, okay? But first try to solve it with immigration. And then the final resort, the last resort that you can do is file a lawsuit against the U.S. Embassy in Ghana if you wanted to. You could file a federal lawsuit against the embassy in Ghana and force them to adjudicate your visa. They'll get subpoenaed. The ambassador at the U.S. Embassy in Accra, Ghana, will be subpoenaed in a federal lawsuit. You don't have to hire an immigration attorney to do this. Filing a federal lawsuit against USCIS, you can do it for about $400. You just go into a federal courthouse and ask them for the paperwork, or go online and ask to file a lawsuit. USCIS don't like getting sued, and they are required to respond to a subpoena. So what happens is this: you sue USCIS. Let's suppose you sue the Service Center in California for whatever reason. They get subpoenaed by the federal judge, okay, in Texas. They have to respond to the subpoena. The federal judge then takes control of your K-1 visa application or your green card application or your spousal visa. A federal judge takes control of it. USCIS no longer makes any decisions on your case. The federal judge makes the decision on your case. So you got to present as much evidence to the federal judge as you can to show that you qualify for the benefit. And then USCIS has to turn over all their records that they have on your case to the federal judge. And then the federal judge will look at the USCIS opinion, why they haven't adjudicated your case yet. Then they'll look at your evidence of your relationship. And then the federal judge will tell USCIS to either issue you the K-1 visa or not. But you got to understand, if you sue USCIS and it goes in front of a federal judge, USCIS is no longer in control of your case. The federal judge is now in control of your case, and his or her decision is final. So if the federal judge sides with USCIS and says, oh, yeah, you're right, USCIS, the person doesn't qualify for the visa, then you're done. You can't take it anywhere else. You'd have to refile from the beginning again. Now, I'm not giving you guys any legal advice. Remember, I'm not an immigration attorney. I didn't go to law school. I went to real estate school. Okay, it's not legal advice, but this is the facts. This is information that I know from experience over the past 10 years. Okay, 10 years I've been doing this. Okay, Felix, if you're having a hard time, if you can't get any response from immigration, sue them in a federal courthouse, and I guarantee within 30 to 60 days you'll have an answer on your status of your visa for your beneficiary in the beautiful nation of Ghana. It's just unfortunate that there's a lot of people that commit visa fraud. Okay, especially in Ghana. Now, I'm not saying the people of Ghana are bad. They're not bad people. But that's where the State Department has collected enough evidence to show that that's the country, one of the countries of massive visa fraud. So it's harder to get a visa from that country. Ren S from Texas, she got her visa approved in Ghana for her husband, but it took her like 9 months or 10 months, something like that. Okay. So let's put some pixie dust all over that for Felix. Because I love Texas, but it's cold there right now. Okay. And the property taxes are really high in Texas, but the living standards are great. Texas is a great place to live. Francois said she had to go. She's got to go to work, I'm sure. And Bethlehem understood everything I said. Aquarius, yes, Aquarius, a beneficiary can travel a week after they land in America. You can fly from Texas to New York after a week to go see family. But Aquarius, when you're up in Texas, when you're up in New York with family, make sure you get lots of pictures together, because that needs to go into the green card application. I keep reiterating this over and over, but lots of people file for a 2-year green card with maybe 3 pictures, the marriage certificate, the I-94, the passport, biographic pages, and the 485. Sometimes they'll forget to include the 693 and the 484, the affidavit of support. And the green card application is like this. And they wonder why their green card gets denied, or an RFE for further evidence. When you submit for a 2-year green card, you want to have evidence like this in a binder or binders in document protectors. You got to prove the relationship. The only time you don't have to prove the relationship anymore is when your beneficiary becomes a U.S. citizen, which is 3 years after they arrived in the United States from the issue date on their green card. So Karina's issue date on her green card is June of 2024. 2025, 2026, 2027. So in June of 2027, Karina's eligible to apply for U.S. citizenship. Well, actually, it's a few months before that, because they'll accept it 3 months before the 3-year window of time. But Karina can apply for U.S. citizenship 3 years from the issue date of her 2-year green card. So how does the process work? You get your 2-year green card. You lift the conditions off the 2-year green card, you get your 10-year green card. You're still under that 3-year window of time from when the issue date started on your 2-year green card. Okay, so you apply for your 10-year green card and your 2-year green card is expired. And you have this fantastic job working for whatever, Hewlett Packard, or you're a NASA engineer, or whatever you do, and your 2-year green card's expired, and you've applied for your 10-year. Immigration will extend your 2-year green card to 3 years, okay, while you wait for your 10-year green card. S Bay, greetings Diego and Karina. Everything's great here, S Bay. What do I do if I can't retrieve certain things for support of the I-134, such as a letter of employment? You write a letter of explanation. So you're telling me that your boss won't write a letter identifying where you work, how much you make, how long you've been in the company, what your position is in the company? Your employer won't write that for you? The human resources officer won't write that? Surely. So you're saying you can't get a letter of employment? Usually a person can't get a letter of employment if they've only been at the job for 6 months or less, okay? But let's put some MAGA pixie dust on that, because I'm pretty sure you can get a letter of employment, and I'm going to give you a Mountain Dew salute, okay? Because I'm sure that's a nerve-wracking thing for you to have to go through. But here's what I would do. If your boss won't give you a letter of employment, you write a letter to immigration, and you put your name and address and where you live in the United States, and then you write dear, and then it's going to be addressed to the U.S. Embassy or U.S. Consulate in whatever country your beneficiary is going to be in. So in our case, it would be dear Consular Officer at the U.S. Embassy, Bogota, Colombia. I am having difficulty getting a letter of employment from my boss. I work at this business at this address. This is my boss's phone number. This is where I work. This is how much money I make. This is how long I've been working there. You write the letter, SBA, on paper, on your computer, with an explanation saying, this is where I work. This is how much money I make. I'm sure you've got pay stubs, right? Pay stubs and direct deposit bank statements showing the money going into your account from this company. Okay, you can prove it that way. Bank statements and pay stubs, and then you get 6 months worth of pay stubs, 12 months worth of bank statements, and you write a letter of explanation saying your boss wouldn't write a letter of employment. But this is where I work. This is how much I make. This is my boss. This is my boss's name. This is his or her phone number. This is his or her email address if you want to contact my employer. And then you sign it in your full name, first name, middle name, last name, and you date it, and you include it, and then you include that with the I-134, which is the Declaration of Financial Support. SBA, did that help you? Because that's acceptable. But you have to prove the income. You can write that letter, but you got to prove the income. And how do you do it? With pay stubs and bank statements, direct deposits. You know, when I'm retired from the Navy, when the U.S. Navy, when the Finance Department of Defense finance folks pay me my Navy retirement, it goes direct deposit. It shows up on my bank statement as direct deposit from the Defense Department of Finance. SBA, you got it. Excellent. We're going to cover this base for you, and we're going to help you so you don't get a failure. Okay? There's always a solution to a problem in immigration, and I always have the answer, and I'm never wrong. Okay? That's why so many people jump on this channel and ask questions, because I'm helping them. I helped a gentleman get from a country that was under siege into another country. He couldn't go back to his old country and get his birth certificate or his passport because the other country he was in a massive freaking war. But I helped get him from that new country he was in to the United States without a passport. There's a way to do that. If you are in a country, that's under siege, okay? And I helped him, and he lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico now, happy as a clam. There's always a solution to a problem. And if you have a problem and you need a solution, jump on the live stream. I've been talking almost an hour. I'll talk about another 8 more minutes, and then I'm going to jump off the live stream. I'm sure Karina wants to have some lunch and get something to eat. Okay? But we wanted to do a live stream for you on a Monday to cover some other questions that we could maybe get to on Saturday. And then Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time, we'll be back for another live stream to continue the discussion. Remember, if you're in a K-1 visa process and you're qualified for the benefit and you feel like you made a mistake somewhere or there's an error somewhere, I can fix it for you with information. Okay, I'm not going to guarantee that it's going to be an approved visa, because you have to do that. You have to qualify for the benefit. Okay, the sponsor does and the beneficiary does. But if you qualify for the benefit and immigration make mistakes too, USCIS Service Center, they make mistakes, and I will help you overcome those. I'll give you the roads to travel down to fix it. Okay, so we're going to go get some lunch, and we appreciate that fantastic super sticker. Thank you so much for that super sticker. We'll come back Wednesday, right at 6 p.m. I'll write it in here. So Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time. Right there. That's when we'll be back. And I tell you what, I'm getting sick and tired of this time change. Spring forward, fall back 1 hour, lose an hour, gain an hour. I'm about sick of it. So I hope that President-elect Trump, when he gets in office, gets rid of that stupid time change. Stop time. I mean, when I lose an hour, Karina's like, what the heck? What are we doing? Why are we going back an hour? We don't do this in Colombia or Venezuela or Paraguay or Uruguay or Panama. It's only America. In Arizona, they don't do the time change either. If you live in Arizona, the time never changes. Well, it changes, but it doesn't go back an hour or forward an hour. So I think Trump's going to get in there and he's going to get rid of this stupid time change. Senator Marco Rubio tried to do it. I don't know what happened there, but Trump's going to fix that. So that way, we don't have to be walking around like zombies for a freaking week after we lose an hour's sleep. Airline pilots. Can you imagine airline pilots, oh, we're going to lose an hour, but my flight leaves at 2:00 in the morning. Or we're going to go back an hour. It's insane. Guys, we'll see you Wednesday. Thanks for stopping by, and we hope we answered your questions. And we'll be back to continue with this excellent discussion on Wednesday, 6 p.m.